Your personal take on it?
For Miss Charm International, I think one thing we have to take into consideration with the pageant is it's a one-of-a-kind pageant, be it that it advocates for and includes blockchain technology and the use of it in the voting process, and also in our other activities that are gonna come up and bubble up starting tomorrow actually, while the voting is actually ongoing. But moreover, it's quite dedicated to the idea of sustainable tourism, which I think is something that we should get back on, especially in the midst of a post-pandemic world where everybody is going back into their lives, but with also the question of how should I go back into my life? How should I ease back into it? And when it comes to tourism, we should already be talking about or asking ourselves that question: how can we make it sustainable? How can we make it inclusive? And so that's what Miss Charm is all about. It's about sustainable tourism. It's about advocating and democratizing access and information about blockchain technology, because we're in the midst of the fourth industrial revolution and we need to be ready. And so it's sort of a classroom setting, if you will, but make it pageantry. So I hope that we can all learn together with Miss Charm.
Thank you for that, Annabelle, and good luck. Kahit puro big words ang ginamit niya, no? Okay? Next, start.
Win Miss Charm International for 2023 in Vietnam. What immediate plan do you have in mind to promote the cause of the organization, like in tourism and culture and other educational activities?
Well, in the contract, when I do win Miss Charm International 2023, I get one day to go back to the Philippines. And what I have in mind as my first project for Miss Charm is to go back to supporting some of the indigenous communities I've worked with in the past, particularly the Malindawag ancestral domain of the Higaonon tribe in Awan, Misamis Oriental, and moreover the Rugongon Sikyop Agricultural Cooperative, led by 3 tribes in Iligan, who I've also worked with alongside. And just recently, actually, I'm proud to say that Save the Children has also approved one project with them as well. So I guess that's the first thing I would do should I win Miss Charm International 2023, because I think indigenous communities have always been sustainable in their efforts to conserve the environment and to preserve their culture and heritage, which is something that Ms. Charm is also looking into, considering that the Vietnamese people are also quite similar in that sense, in terms of sustaining and preserving their heritage and culture. So that's probably at the top of my list, certainly.
Okay, just a follow-up lang. So, what particular aspect of Miss Charm Philippines do you look forward to, or rather, what aspect of the competition do you give more weight to boost your chance of winning the title?
I think it's
Meron
just
pa?
well, that's an interesting question. But I suppose I really just have to focus on the mindset. I think a Miss Charm is someone who's gracious enough to accept her shortcomings and positive enough to work upon them, and that's the game plan that I've set out for myself since the day I was appointed.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir.
Best of luck to you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Peter from Clinical Media Philippines. I'm sorry for my ignorance. Please
Doubt it.
Please educate us on the blockchain technology.
All right. Well, with what we have right now, because there are 3 webs, right? Web 1 was the basic internet that we had in the 90s. And Web 2 is how we typically use the internet now. It's social media. It's not just information being set and spoon-fed to you in Web 1. Web 2 is giving people like us the chance to input their own ideas and their own content on Web 2. But with Web 3, it's a more transparent way of, it's a whole different ballgame of transparency, security, and moreover, It allows us not only to input information, but also be amongst ourselves as well, like what you see in the metaverse, or as a more instantaneous means of transactions, like our sponsors, namely Pfizer and MetaMask with the e-wallets. I think in the Philippines, our most recent, or rather our most common way of engaging with it is our e-wallets that we have on our phones. So that's just a basic gateway that you can use to get to know more about Web3 and blockchain technology. But in the context of this charm, we use it for the voting process. So it's completely transparent. You can see users input or vote for their certain candidates in real time.
Charming afternoon, Annabelle, and to all of you guys.
Hello.
This is Jay from Pageant Trend. Question for you, dear. What are you looking forward for this pageant, especially in Vietnam?
What I'm looking forward to? Probably more pho and other Vietnamese goodies that I can get my hands on. But in all seriousness, I'm quite excited about discovering more about the Vietnamese culture, because you would actually be surprised that the Southeast Asian region actually had a very porous border during the pre-colonial times. So I'm quite excited to see the common ground that our Filipino culture has with the Vietnamese culture as well. I mean, their hospitality is something that we can definitely relate to a lot, and I can't wait to enjoy more of it tomorrow.
All right, another follow-up question for you. What are your charming mindset in winning this pageant?
A charming mindset probably begets a lot of courage. I think when you acknowledge within yourself that you'll never be 100% perfect, but you'll always be 100% game to showing up as the person you choose to be each and every day. I think that's what a charming mindset's all about. I mean, I've never let the difficulties of life, the labels that people have put upon me, the label of where I come from, where I live, or my socioeconomic status get me down. I mean, I've always seen beyond what people tell me what people tell me to do, or what people tell me that, oh, you're this is all that you're ever going to amount to. I've always looked beyond that, and I've chose to see the version of myself that I want to be, and I think I'm her currently.
All right, thank you so much and congratulations in advance.
We have another question.
Can you give us a hint for your national costume? And do you feel any pressure right now?
With my national costume, mabango siya. Very fresh. And I don't feel pressure right now. I'm actually very excited. I'm very excited. Thank you so much, Dash Factor. Thank you for coming.
Here from Pageant Mag Philippines. Hello po. Annabelle, I just wanted to know your feelings or your reaction about competing with the crossovers, because we have learned that there are a number of delegates that are competing with Miss Charm being crossovers.
Crossovers meaning candidates that have been part of previous pageants, am I
Yes,
correct?
like Miss Universe, Miss World.
Well, I can't wait to meet them. I've actually met one of your crossovers, in a matter of saying I've met. The first person that I made friends with was B from Cambodia. She represented them at Miss Universe, and I think we hit it off pretty well, considering how she would tell me stories about her experience. And I think I'm quite excited just to hear about their experience as well, and moreover, how different Miss Charm will have to be for them. And I think through their eyes, I can better appreciate and understand the Miss Charm organization better.
Wow, that's great. And when can you consider yourself being your most charming moment as well?
I think my most charming moment is something that you'll just have to witness come the coronation night.
So that's a surprise.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
And from the Philippine pageantry. First, I think Can you please tell us your experience in visiting Vietnam last year in preparation for Miss Charm International pageant this year?
Right. Well, I just spent a day and a half there, so I can't wait to stay longer. You know, I get a good grasp of the culture. But when we got there, I met B at the airport, and then they practically just transported us to the hotel. I met my other sisters from the continent of Asia, and then we began the press conference. I met a few of the committee, basically, you know, the organization of Miss Charm, and I was just thrilled on how hospitable they are, how warm they are, and how well coordinated everything is. And it was quite a grand welcome, and I can't wait for an even grander pageant period to begin. Moreover, we just went on one very brief city tour. They just toured us around Ho Chi Minh. And while I would have loved to, you know, meet the local people and get a taste of their infamous Vietnamese coffee and all that, we were the time was quite limited, so I can't wait to actually get a better grasp of that come tomorrow. But it was such a lovely, as brief as it may be, it was such a lovely visit, and I can't wait to experience more of that.
And being excited for your first ever international pageant. Hopefully you win and become our first Miss Charm International title holder. How are you going to charm your way through the hearts of Vietnamese people and charming your way to the crowd?
Particularly with that, I think when you stay true to your core values and when you stay true to who you are, that's one sure way of getting what you want from life. In my experience, there were so many temptations to have a shortcut to success in whatever form that you could think of. I mean, I remember it was just 8 years ago that I was struggling to make ends meet. I didn't know if I could ever get a college education. I didn't know where I was going, really. We were doing everything. I mean, I was selling bread in high school. We cooked in the morning and barbecue at night. We would sell ukay-ukay clothes on the weekends. We were doing everything to make ends meet. And I distinctly remember the day that Pia won. It really inspired me because it wasn't a good day. We weren't selling that much, and we went home pretty sad. We went home with practically nothing. And when we did get home, and you know, I went on my phone, and that great news really sank in because Pia actually has Iliganon roots. If you guys don't know, she has Iliganon roots, and I thought to myself, well, if she could do it, then maybe I could as well. You know what I mean? Like to represent the Philippines, to be someone beyond yourself. That's something so surreal and so far off thinking about it. But I'll just take a moment really to let it all sink in, pardon me. But what really kept me going all those years was the thought of, is it possible? Can I make something out of myself? Is it possible? Can I make it happen? And I've always had this vision of making it somehow. It didn't really matter to me anymore what field I could succeed in, but I did, by God's grace, I did found my way into pageantry. And with each experience I had from the provincial pageants that I won, and up until Miss Universe Philippines, and up until the day I was appointed as Miss Charm Philippines, I never really saw it coming. Like I always dreamed of these things happening, but I would just focus on myself and work on what I could do. I didn't focus on what was beyond my control. I focused what was within my control, within my orbit, what I could do for myself. And I always dreamed of being the person that could someday pay it forward. And even before being appointed as Miss Charm, just being the first runner-up at Miss Universe Philippines, it really changed my life. It really changed how I viewed myself and what I could do, and it really opened a lot of doors for me, and I'm so glad that with the little that I still have now, I can use my pocket to bless other people. You know what I mean? I mean, just recently I had this message on Instagram, and she said, "Ate, congratulations. I'll pray for you because like she congratulated me on being appointed as Miss Charm, and she said, because you believe in my dreams, I'll believe in your dreams as well." And it turns out the child that I had partly sponsored her badminton equipment a few months back, she ended up winning 2 gold medals at her competition, and she was the underdog in the competition. And I think that's just one funny way of God showing me that